told you I'd try and be a little more prompt about getting things to you, so here it goes. I wanted to talk this time about how we have a tendency to let our habits control our moods. Um, and I think the mood that you end up having is probably connected to something you're doing and you're not paying attention to that. We can change our habits, and as we go along, there's a number of reasons to do that. It, I mean, it might feel comfortable to have a habit that's worked for you quite well. And, there's an old adage about it, if it ain't broke. But the thing is, we don't know what's on the other side if we don't try. You can just dip your toe in the water if you want to, because that's one way to change. The other people might notice that you're different and you haven't noticed that. Maybe it's down to what you're eating or the things that you're doing every day. Um, Mood is something really important because it determines how we feel. I mean, being happy is the goal, but it should be something that sort of sneaks up on you. You're not even aware of it that you're happy because it's a general contentment. That's what we're aiming for. And if you're not doing the things that you love, maybe you've got a job that you you tolerate. I get that. It's out of necessity, we take things on, and we handle them as best we can. But we know in our hearts that we're kind of waiting for something else to come along or for something else to surface. Well, I've talked to you about that because the universe does deliver. It's just we have to pay attention to what we're contributing, and that includes what we're thinking about, what we're actually saying, and what we're doing. So all of those help to move the situation into something you want. So I think changing your habits is akin to moving yourself in the right direction. So if you're doing something like you have a tendency to rush out the door in the morning, for example, when you go to work, and that means what? You're not eating a good breakfast before you go. Maybe you think that it takes too much effort and you can't be bothered. So you end up when you get to work eating something like fast food or something sugary like muffins, and don't be your own worst enemy. Things like that tend to accumulate, and as a result, then it becomes a habit. And when it's a habit, it could really negatively affect your health. And boy, there's a real mood killer if you're not feeling good. So change your habits. Don't um when you get up in the morning, take a minute, just sit on the side of the bed because it's a good policy anyway. You're not making your blood pressure go zoom. I don't mean just because you're older. I mean any age. Just sit there on the side of the bed and kind of think for a bit about what your day has ahead. And don't reach for your phone because that habit will set the tone for the rest of the day, which might not necessarily be good because it depends on what you're subscribed to and what you tend to look at. We've already talked about that. Um, so make a habit of just thinking good thoughts when you're sitting on the side of the bed and you're thinking about your day. And then get up and move with purpose. Some habits are fine, like, you have a tendency to want to have a glass of water or something first before you do anything else, or maybe you use the bathroom first or whatever. Some habits are just there for their own purpose, and that's fine. But think about the big ones that affect your life. Um, For example, maybe instead of taking that bus or the car to work, see if you can't walk to work. If you're too far, if you're out in the boonies somewhere, well, of course, you need transportation. But use that time, like perhaps you could take a train or, carpool or something, where you can let your mind wander on fun things. Um, if there's certain things that you need to get done when you get home at the end of the day, for example, and then you feel pressured because you've got to hurry and hustle and all that, use that time in the morning when you're commuting to think about um, other ways you could do it. It maybe involve the family or other people that you're with, to make it so that it works better for everybody. Everything you do that contributes to making a general mood better, and I'm saying, like, say, your whole family, also contributes to making you feel better because when you have little successes, um, boy, does that feel like a pat on the back. And it is. It's the universe's way of saying, you did well. You really did well. And we all need that. But you sort of have to work on getting the drive to do things yourself, to start with. And sometimes things will flow naturally from there because you initiated this new thing about trying things, right? You have to be open-minded. This closed-minded, it has to be this way thing isn't good for habits and it isn't good for your state of mind. So when you're thinking about what you could change, uh, be open to considering possibilities like, we know that bottom line, you need good food, in order for your system to work properly and for you to be able to think properly and in order for you to take care of other people and so forth and to work, it's kind of a baseline. And if you don't have good food coming into you, because you're making that effort, you're not going to fare very well. So start there. Maybe we could try something like like I have all my life, which is having a garden. If you can't do that because you're in an apartment or something and you're thinking, oh, if you've got a little balcony, you know, um, there are ways you can grow upwards, little trellises and things like that. Um, just for little things, just to add extra food that normally you would go and get, that actually have nutrition because you're sadly lacking in it no matter how hard you're trying without growing your own food. And why I say that is because we know that the gardens out there, the big commercial ones where that supply the food for our supermarkets are devoid of much of the nutrition we need because of the way they farm. Uh, so it's really important that you really consider what it is that you eat on a regular basis and what would have the biggest impact. So you could start there. It could be a family project. You might even decide that you want to live elsewhere so that you can have a backyard where you can grow things. You know, the decisions you make about your life that benefit you, you have control over many of the times. Uh, and once that framework, that mindset is in place, other things like maybe not being so happy at work kind of fall in place because once you set all that up so that when you come home, it's the place you want it to be, it's your sanctuary, um, you're launching yourself from there. So right off the bat, your mental attitude is much better. Your health is better. Um, you feel alive. And then you can work on what's going on at work. So think about your habits as something you have control over. And in this world, there are a lot of things that maybe we feel we don't that seem to affect our lives. Take the steps to handle what you can and make it important because this will change your whole life. Um, you might look ahead and see a different life than what you're living right now. Well, work towards that. Now you've got a goal. And there's nothing like having a goal to kind of pep you up. It's something new. And we love something new. Many of us, like I say, have habits that don't allow us to try something new. But it can be small steps to get you there, right? To the big goal. Take those small steps that will allow you to feel better. Um, you know, that there's a lot of fear out there right now about a lot of things, but you do have control over much, in spite of what you think. You know, um, I think sometimes though you have to open up and talk to the people that you care about in your life and work out a plan. And you'll be surprised what other people are thinking about, and they might even welcome the opportunity to express how they feel and to do something about it too. Open your mind. Don't be dead set in a certain way of thinking or doing. Um, Once you're open-minded, there's all kinds of possibilities. So change your habits. Like I said, do it gradually if you have to, if that feels more comfortable. But we're in this together, right? And I can tell you from experience, if you don't have an open mind and you don't change your habits, those wonderful things around the corner that you would have missed if you didn't, you'll never see. So just think about that. Just this little adventure around the corner. Something you can't see, but you have a feeling is there. Start living it. You're going to have many, many years where you're thinking, I wish I'd changed that, or I wish I'd done that. And yes, of course, put some guardrails in place. Don't be too cavalier. But genuinely think about it, what you want. And if you're not on the right path yet, as I've talked about uh, when we talked about the universe and what it does, the law of attraction, um, get yourself back on track. You'll know you are because that stress isn't there. Everything happens easily. It feels like it's meant to be. So get that back in your life. Change your habits. Well, I'm rooting for you. So you do your best. See if you can't make that world of yours a little lighter, a little happier. And drop me a line. Tell me what you're doing. Anyway, I'm saying goodbye, but not for long. I'll be back again soon. So you take care. Bye for now.